it too much to ask for a vehicle that's fuel efficient and not a slouch? One that has high ground clearance but is still fun to drive.
Oh yeah.
Something that can be utilitarian and luxurious at the same time. A vehicle that appeals to the passengers as much as it does to the driver. So maybe, just maybe, it's not too much to ask for you to have your cake and eat it too. Introducing the recently refreshed Honda CR-V. So can you really have the best of both worlds? Or does a family hauler really need to take the cool factor out of the equation? Does it have to scream soccer mom? Well, in the case of the refreshed CR-V, I don't think so. The updated CR-V now gives you less chrome, which I think is a welcome change because chrome is a fad that should have ended in the 1970s. And to stay true to the modern day era, the headlights are now a full LED affair with sequential turn signals. Part of the facelift includes a redesigned bumper, and you'll see it now has a black overrider flanked by this chrome accent that runs across the bumper. And after looking at this, it kind of makes the previous model look quite bloated. Now, it would have been really nice to see bigger rims on this, but I think that Tito and me would be very happy with these 18-inch rims. Plus, I think it's a marked improvement compared to the previous ones, because those were a little too busy for my taste. Now, you still get some chrome accents around the windows and at the bottom of the doors, but at least the black body cladding isn't overdone. Now, I do wish Honda gave this thing a smaller lane watch camera because this thing just sticks out like a sore thumb. I'm sure they can come up with something that's more concealed or at least better integrated, like this. At the back, you'll see that the rear taillights have also been slightly redesigned because the part that covers the reverse lights are now smoked out. The rear bumper also gets a minor makeover, but the best enhancement here is the fact that you now get a hands-free tailgate. Opening the trunk reveals enough space for a few groceries behind the third row. Folding the third row gives you 472 liters of space and more than double with the second row seats folded. As you can see, the CR-V offers heaps of versatility in terms of how you can configure it to suit your needs. What makes the CR-V a staple in the world of crossovers is how it manages to tick all the boxes. It practically wrote the book on how to build an interior that provides heaps of comfort, space, storage, functionality, and even some non-essentials. But this 5th generation CR-V has been around for quite a few years now, and considering how fast cars are evolving these days, can this updated version really keep the CR-V from showing its age? Well, when this was initially released, this was way ahead of the game because it got niceties such as a fully digital instrument cluster, a 7-inch infotainment system, an electronic park brake, push-button start, and an electronic gear selector. But the thing is, a lot of the other manufacturers have caught up, and some even offer better implementation. For example, the screen on the infotainment system now seems small and the resolution could be better by today's standards. A lot of cars these days have a 360 camera. The CR-V does have a lane watch and multi-view camera, but it just isn't the same. But at least you get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is a must for any car in this day and age, especially at this price point. Then there's this electronic gear selector, which was all the rave a few years ago. But looking at it now, I can't help but think that Honda could have been more creative with this. I mean, this thing looks like it came straight out of a VCR. But in any case, the CR-V remains to be a relevant and compelling choice because this interior excels where it really counts. For starters, there's a level of comfort here which is just hard to beat. The leather is soft and the seats provide decent levels of support. You even get lumbar support and so much adjustability to find the perfect driving position. There's also soft touch materials on the dash and on the door cards, Basically, anything your body can come into contact with is extremely soft and nice to the touch. And the best part is that all the space and comfort isn't just confined to the front seats, because the second row occupants get even more space. The second row seats also provide more than enough adjustability, and you also get a generous amount of amenities there, such as charge ports, armrests, and rear air vents, which even reach the third row passengers. Like most seven-seaters, you shouldn't expect luxury car levels of space back there, but it's still a good to have. Because even if you have a small family, you just never know when someone will unexpectedly hitch a ride. Overall, you'll be pressed to find another crossover that offers this much space and functionality. And I'm beginning to sound like a broken record here. But this is just so cleverly designed. You get a rear door that swings 90 degrees, which will make loading a baby seat a cinch. Then there's the configurability, which I already mentioned, but that even extends to the center console. You can either have a big compartment or two smaller ones. So is this interior still ahead of the game? Well, despite having niceties such as front power seats, a panoramic sunroof, and a wireless charge pad, this interior definitely is still extremely competitive, but I wouldn't call it the most premium interior in its segment. Maybe if it had a bigger screen with a 360 camera, ambient lighting, and a gear selector that exuded an iota of artistry, maybe we can get away with calling it premium. But until then, I don't think so. And the fake stitching and simulated wood doesn't help either. In the same way that a car with racing stripes and a bunch of stickers doesn't make it look any more sporty, the fake stitching and wood doesn't make this interior feel any more premium. But don't get me wrong, it really depends on what appeals to you more, needs versus wants, because this interior gives you everything you could possibly need, and even some of the things you'd want. And besides, the CR-V is meant to be a comfortable runabout vehicle, so I think it's time to see how this thing drives. A crossover has the daunting task of being a jack of all trades, because it has to offer the finesse of a car in terms of driving dynamics, but also enough ruggedness to tackle various road conditions. And off the bat, the CR-V does a really good job, because even if the suspension is tuned to seat 7 occupants, it's still extremely compliant over bad pavement. It does not feel stiff, yet it provides decent handling because you can still corner this thing at speed despite its ride height. And the steering of this thing is also really good. It's not too heavy, it's not too light, which means you can still maneuver this thing with ease, but you still get a decent amount of feedback, so it's not over boosted. And as far as the steering ratio is concerned, it's also well balanced because it's quick enough to respond adequately to your steering inputs, but not overly so that you find yourself making unnecessary steering corrections because it's too sensitive. Now this is still made it to a 9-speed automatic, and thank God it's not a CVT. But the way it performs is, it's very quick to upshift, and I think that's to optimize its fuel efficiency. The good thing is, when you put your foot down, it's also quick to downshift. So it adapts to your driving style, which is a good thing. Now this has fairly short gears, given the fact that it is a 9-speed transmission. Plus the fact that the red line is 4,500 RPM. What that translates to is, when you sprint to 100 kilometers an hour, you'll find this thing shifting so often. So as far as spirited driving is concerned, it may not float your boat. So under the hood, you still get the 1.6-liter diesel engine that pumps out 120 metric horsepower and 300 Newton meters of torque. And I know some people were hoping that when they updated the CR-V for the Philippine market, that we'd get the more powerful 160 horsepower diesel engine that's available in other markets. But I think Honda made the right decision in sticking with the 120 horsepower mill. Because think about how we drive here in this country. It's almost traffic all the time, and getting past 50 kilometers an hour is a treat. And it'll only take a matter of seconds before someone or something cuts you off and you have to slow down again. Now, I know there are other crossovers that offer more powerful diesel engines. For example, the Hyundai Tucson or the Kia Sportage. And those things will really sink you in your seat when you floor the gas pedal. But trust me, this is no slouch. It still offers decent power, and that power comes in as early as 2000 RPM, so it's still light on its feet. So there's not much of a trade-off in terms of power. It's not as powerful, but it's not really a penalty that you have to pay. And the best part is, this makes up for it in terms of fuel efficiency. Because in hellish traffic, you can still get 10 kilometers per liter. And when the traffic frees up a bit in the city, you can get as much as 18 kilometers per liter. And then on the highway, you get an astronomical 24 kilometers per liter, which is just unheard of. And I think in this country, a lot of people will prefer the fuel efficiency over a faster 0 to 60 time.
Oh yeah.
See, it's no slouch. Now in terms of NVH, it's pretty good. It seems well insulated from the noise outside, although you do hear the purr, or should I say the rattle, of the diesel engine creep in. But it's not annoying. It's still a pleasant place to be in. So the CR-V seems to tick all the boxes as far as ride comfort and driving dynamics are concerned. But what really knocks it out of the park is the fact that this comes with Honda Sensing, which is a host of driver's aids and safety features such as adaptive cruise control with low speed follow, road departure mitigation with lane departure warning, lane keep assist, collision mitigation braking system, and forward collision warning. Basically, these features allow you to set your desired speed, and the car takes care of maintaining the distance between you and the car in front, which will come in handy when you're cruising on the highway or crawling in traffic, because it means you won't even have to step on the gas or apply the brakes. The CR-V also ensures that you'll always be within your lane, whether you're driving straight or going around a bend, because it'll warn you with an alert if you veer off and even apply the brakes and necessary steering corrections to get you back on track. It also does the same in the event of an impending collision. If only every car in this country had those features, we'd probably see fewer kamote drivers on the road. This range-topping SX variant can be yours for 2,158,000 pesos. Now I know that sounds like a lot of money, but what you get here is a vehicle that does it all. It offers space, comfort, practicality, versatility, stellar fuel economy with decent performance, and most importantly, life-saving features, and you really can't put a price on that.